Your job makes respiration system. Oh, I see. So you are one of few people who experiences the opposite. Anytime you access the materia slots of the fake character, you can store materia. Oh, I see now, I think. That's interesting. When even is the first time that you can access this fake materia menu on the file you want to make use of this? Well, I mean, I've seen this glitch in action in Cosmo Canyon. I know that Red 13 temporarily leaves your party there. Yeah, Airbuster is when you get rid of this I think is a new encounter. Airbuster is when you leave, when Barrett and Tifa temporarily leave your party. But isn't the issue also that you cannot actually always access this fake character? Like, I haven't really tried this glitch very much, but when I just stumbled upon it a few years ago, you know, without this additional storage from another save file, or at least without knowing it, it seemed like I didn't always get to even abuse this, because I wasn't always able to even get anything out of this exchange materia setup. Hey, King of Nowhere, I am doing quite good. How are you? Oh, you can always do it? How do you make sure that you are able to do it? Oh, I see. That's interesting. So maybe I could hope that this is a wonderful chocobo this time. Lamina glitch. What is the Lamina glitch? It sounds like it's from a game that I have no experience with. Luna 2 for the Sega CD. Yeah, I can't say I know what that is. Dudes, like, these chocobos look basically like the flowers I have in my room here. They are just as close to death, I'm afraid. I mean, at this point, I don't even know if there are any wonderful chocobos in this game anymore. Maybe I should just give up on the chocobo racing section and just move on with my game. Oh, you posted something in Discord? Oh, I see. I will have a look at it later then. Interesting. The main menu is what you mean by, you know, the title screen where you can choose continue on your game, right? I see. That is interesting. You know, this is the same encounter I had, so I'm not even quite sure which encounter I should be looking for. No. I mean, do you mean talking to him? Soy sauce? Because the Chocobo guy, he just tells you how to get one, like if you were to start from scratch. But just talking to him doesn't do anything. I mean, the issue I have is I want to just have... I already have a gold Chocobo, and I'm currently trying to breed it with a yellow Chocobo to just get a gold Chocobo that has good stats. And in that quest, the Chocobo Sage cannot actually help me. You can buy silk screens from him, which I already have. I didn't have to buy them from him though, because apparently I found them somewhere else in this randomizer. Okay, this is a different encounter now. This could be actually a wonderful one. Oh hey Nitro. 555, how are you? How have I been? You know, considering that you probably haven't talked to me in, I don't know, a year at least, I find it difficult to summarize how I felt in that time frame in just a few words, because, you know, I've gone through all kinds of feeling states, like, you know, good, nauseous, and many other colorful things. You know, I heard some people already have the remake. In fact, some people have shown me pictures of them having the remake. Well, I found your treat genuinely interesting. I had heard of this interesting shopping website. I didn't know what kind of stuff one buys there, but now that I know, this actually is a wonderful chocobo. Wow, amazing. And some of the products you apparently were recommended to buy seemed really interesting to me. So now I can eat all the remaining chocobos. Have you ever bought anything from this website? I mean, apparently, because otherwise you wouldn't be getting these suggestions, would you? So I'm gonna save now, and then I'm gonna breed these two, and I'm just gonna hope that I get something good out of this. You were saying you never had? Wow, that's unfortunate. So even I, who also hasn't bought anything from there yet, could go to this page and somehow get my own ridiculous recommendations. The website? You mean the website I'm talking about? Oh, I'm talking about this website called Wish, which, you know, I don't think it's a dirty website or something you must not mention. Somebody told me, or somebody shared a picture of stuff they had been recommended on there. You know, this guy in my chat, a vacation, and I was just wondering what people do on this website, because I have no experience with myself. You know, I also found it really interesting that the stuff you were recommended, at what price these things were advertised as, like, whatever things they even were, I don't know. This is just the yellow chocobo, this is garbage. They seemed really cheap. I mean, I suppose they also have no quality. Then again, I'm not quite sure what kind of quality one can expect out of a Batman costume. Like, I don't really know what the price point for a Batman costume is. But I think it was listed there at like £88 or something, so like $100 maybe. Not to forget the Vice, like, what does one even call this? The portable urinal. I think that might even be the official name, which you seem to be most amazed by. You know, there was and you know, I had actually seen this thing before because apparently when people go to like some kind of public event where it's crowded and stuff, it's kind of like stuff you can buy for like cat litter things. You can buy some kind of trash bag that comes with kind of like cat litter inside, a similar substance that if you add urine onto it, it just kind of becomes a solid, and then you just throw it away. And apparently some people think that's a good idea. So there you go. You had a buddy looking for a cheap vacuum cleaner, and he got sex as recommended to him. Well, I am not sure if you are aware of this, but there is probably an overlap between sex toys and vacuum cleaners. Have you heard of the great study that is autoerotic accidents? Apparently they are quite commonly involving vacuum cleaners. Like, there is actually like scientific papers out there, like medical journals, that deal with what I just said, autoerotic accidents. Well, I'm glad you came then, because I never aspire to anything more than just educating the world about what is out there, namely autoerotic accidents. But anyway, maybe some people's life just doesn't have any kind of excitement, so they have to find some kind of, you know, outlet to experience excitement, and sometimes it comes in questionable avenues. He got a UTI. A UTI stands for urinary tract infection, right? So now I need to get more silver screens, because I don't have enough. Also, what am I supposed to do with all of these swarming chocobos that just stand there outside in the chocobo farm? I am not so sure. But doesn't a UTI just go away after a while all by itself? I mean, not that I would know, but being an avid medical journal reader myself, I have read many interesting things. You know, unfortunately in this mod, I haven't really gotten many all materias early on, so even though I have some, I prefer not to sell them because I think it's just easier and faster to simply duplicate silver screens instead of buying them. You know, all materia isn't even the only materia that sells for the highest price. I mean, mastered all materia sells for 1.4 million gil, but you can, for the same price, also sell mastered, I think, XP plus, something like that. There are, I think, 4 materia that sell for that much. It's just that the other ones require more IP to be mastered than all, which kind of makes it pointless to do anything else than mastering all. I kind of like the limit break animation. Well, I mean, if you're into that, if you think that pressing buttons is too hard, you can probably just skip this entire process and just use some kind of save game editor. You think using a save game editor is learning? How exactly is that learning? I mean... This is kind of spooky, there is no improvement. I am a bit worried by what this means. I mean, it could mean that either it was already, like, good, or it was so garbage it can't even get any further improvements from this garbage state. I am worried. You've never used a save editor, like, for no games at all? You truly seem like such an innocent person. I mean, save game editors are fun. You can give yourself stuff you can't even normally get, just to toy around with it. I mean, for instance, in FF8, you can, in the final battle against Ultimecia, draw this Apocalypse spell, but there's no way to have it outside of battles. So you're not supposed to be able to junction it at all, but with save game editors you can junction it to your stats, and it's quite interesting to see how it compares to Ultima. I mean, this is an improvement, but not exactly a major one. No. Actually, Apocalypse in FF8 junctions kind of like Ultima a bit worse for most things. But definitely not like fire. I mean, it seems like you are indeed missing out by not using save game editors, because you don't know these things, do you? I think it might even be better in Ultima for some stats, even though I might be wrong. And if you have Ultima and Apocalypse, you can get like 100 absorption on all elements with elemental junctions, which is quite neat, I think. I mean, not that you really not that you really need any of that, because FF8 is not even a hard game, but for fun it can be fun to do these fun things with magic. So I think I'm not gonna have... I mean, if this chocobo does not work out, I do not think I am willing to try breeding another one. Like, if this thing doesn't work, then I will not get the remaining prizes. It's just pointless. It's either this one or no one. No. This gold, I mean, was bred from another gold and wonderful one. And that gold one was bred from the gold from Ruby Weapon, the Desert Rose. So essentially the lineage starts with the Ruby Weapon, with the Desert Rose one, which I bred with an awful one to get like the second gold chocobo. This second gold chocobo I bred with a wonderful yellow chocobo to give me this current third gold chocobo. And I hope that this is enough now to win races in A and S rank. Hey Kim, how are you? Yeah, I mean, it seems to be doing much better than the previous two were doing. So there is some hope that this is actually finally working out. Okay, the Turbo Ether is a Shinra Beta. Shinra Beta, interesting. Oh look, it's K again. I wonder if it's the same K that I raced earlier. I mean, what kind of person names anything K? I mean, the only thing apparently that I know that is called K, that I might be fine with calling K, because it probably is just as garbage as the name KA suggests. Isn't there a cereal called Kellogg's Special K? I mean, I'm fine with people calling cereal one word, one character words, but that's as far as I would go. Kellogg's Special K is great, honestly. I mean, no offense, but isn't every cereal you can buy in a store, like store-bought cereal, isn't that just basically sugar and like a sprinkle of other things? Top head guy is called Joey, and his chocobo is called Teo. Basically, the items have been swapped in each instance where you can get one. So every time I would win a Mega Elixir here, the item I get for the Mega Elixir, the random item, would always be the same. But in another location where I would also get a Mega Elixir, let's say, you know, in like another mini game in the Gold Saucer, the Mega Elixir I would win there might be another item entirely than the Mega Elixir I win here. But in every case, if I repeat it, and if I get the Mega Elixir like several times, then the item would always be the same, whatever it is. Special K is low sugar, really? I mean, I am not a Special K expert, but I stopped eating cereal a long time ago. You know, I never actually had beef jerky. I don't know why you think I would be into beef jerky. I mean, isn't beef jerky essentially just dried beef? You know, in Japan, I once had dried, what even was it? I'm not sure if it was octopus, but dried octopus or squid, and I'm not even quite sure what the difference is, but anyway, it was either dried octopus or dried squid, and it tasted terrible. Like, it was really, really chewy. Like, it had a terrible consistency, a terrible texture, and it just, I mean, it felt like you were eating rubber. I would not recommend it. 5 gram sugar per serving. I mean, it's not that much, but then again, what exactly is a serving? Like, how much gram of Kellogg's Special K is that serving, I wonder? A serving is 30 grams. I mean, please. 30 grams is like a toddler's serving. Serving sizes for like cereal are ridiculous. I mean, maybe if you have like 10 other things, then 30 grams is realistic. But if you have only cereal, then I find 30 grams for cereal just well, somewhere between delusional and illusionary. Who eats 7 nuts? Well, maybe if you only have 7 nuts and the bag is about to go empty, you know, if you've already eaten all the other nuts and only 7 remain, then you might be able to eat just 7 nuts. Yeah, I mean, if you are a producer of whatever food you make, you can claim whatever a serving is, which I find ridiculous. I mean, if I were in charge, you know, I would personally, I think that you can only have a serving size that is intuitive. Like for example, for a bag of cereal, because there is no intuitive way to like measure a serving out. The only intuitive one is the entire bag, so that would be one serving, the entire bag. And then, you know, you can just round it down or like break it down to like how many times you can have this one bag. That to me makes a lot of sense. Maybe somebody should get this going. You know, when you, for example, buy like sliced bread, then an intuitive serving would be like a slice. But for cereal, because cereal rarely comes in slices, you can't really have such a thing, I would say. You know what's even worse? Apparently in the US, you normally, like, US nutrition labels, maybe I'm a bit obsessed about these things, but what I've not been, I haven't really had to deal with this a lot, but like US serving nutrition labels, they only even have, most of the time at least, serving sizes. They don't have the nutrition label for 100 grams, which here where I live is the standard. So you have to always even take their serving sizes if you want to consider what you're intaking, and you have to like multiply their serving size with whatever number you're choosing. But it makes so much more sense to have a 100 grams or whatever strange freedom unit you would be using as the baseline. Oh, you've been feeding crows and they love you now? You know, I knew a guy who also would do that, and I think crows are just likely to like you if you feed them. Maybe every bird would do so. You know, unfortunately, the issue with crows is that the kind of gifts they give you, I mean, usually it's shiny stuff, because apparently crows like shiny stuff. But it's not diamonds, it's just, you know, shiny plastic or something like that, which is a bit unfortunate, because I don't appreciate kindness. What makes you think so, I wonder? Oh, if you mean like when you buy, you know, mixtures for like pudding and the like. Well, I'm not dissing on crows giving gifts to people they like. I am dissing on crows giving subpar gifts to people they like. That's a different story, I would say. Gifts shouldn't be judged. I mean, if I cannot judge gifts, then what else is there left to judge? I mean, also what else are you supposed to do with gifts if not judge them? That's the only joy I get out of gifts. judging them. I mean, I try to be less judgmental, but it's really hard. Also, why are you being so judgmental about me being judgmental? That too seems to be kind of judgmental. You know, XP Medwick, who claims also comes from France, has told me that people in France are quite rude these days. And apparently, I'm not sure if he told me that he was beaten up by the police, but he told me that such a thing is happening there these days because of quarantine and stuff. I don't know if you have any further information on this. Have I actually mentioned that I was in France like a few years ago? And I must admit, I was not fully satisfied with the desserts I ate while I was there. Well, I went to a fancy cafe, and the stuff I ate, like cake and pastries, like were not to my full satisfaction, if I can put it like this. I was expecting more. I did not have creme brulee. I had some weird cake thingies, like tarts and eclairs and millefeuille and, you know, those kind of shit. Well, when I was in France, I was speaking no French because my French was just not functioning correctly. So, I had to communicate in English with everyone. And I was able to listen to people's cute French-English accents, which also was more fun. I mean, this chocobo is still garbage, but maybe if I try really hard and focus, I can win races. Maybe. I get nothing, that's cool. You know, actually I was supposed to go to Belgium this year and try out more desserts there, but then coronavirus happened, and now my entire Belgium food tasting trip has been cancelled, which is very, of course, very sad. Now I have to like sit at home and not eat Belgian foods in Belgium. It's just the worst. Yes, I have doped up this bird to the max, but the issue with doping is that some things have natural limits, and I think I've reached it. So I even I fed it so many silicon screens up to the point where it said no more improvement. So I cannot increase its stats any further, no matter what I do. Yeah, it's a nice um, replacement, but do I have to point out again, there's no Belgian pastries. I am holding square exactly. I mean, I can try it again and see if this works. See your fine lines. I mean, you can see that my stamina is indeed going up. Well, I don't know if there's like any point in continuing this. I might just try it one more time, but at some point I might also just have to realize what is hopeless. No thanks, Sid. I mean, I'm already doing full speed. I can barely keep up with their speed. This is just ridiculous. You know, the funny thing is that the Black Chocobo, who normally scores second after you, is doing just as poorly as I am, so if that's any kind of consolation. But I have come to the realization that this Chocobo is just as garbage as the other ones I've had so far. So there is no point in continuing with this. I might get another one, but I will just ignore this for now. Yeah, Teo's stats are based on yours. Teo's stamina is yours times 1.25, and his top speed is also a function of your top speed. So if your stats suck, his stats suck as well. But normally, because your stats are kind of good, his are even better. So instead of doing this, I will actually move on to the story. For once. what is this mod called? I mean, this is just FF7 Randomizer. It's a very straightforward name. Oh, there's another materia I almost forgot. There is enemy skill here. It's Earth. Well, cool. Thanks for the Earth then. Have you ever made bread yourself? Have you ever tried how to bread? Because I know that people these days seem to like to make their own breads, and I don't know if there is anything to this appeal of making your own breads, like baking it in an oven out of your own ingredients. You've made pizza dough from scratch? You know, when I was a child, I was at children's birthday parties as a child, and I remember that at one of these birthday parties, one of the party tricks was making your own pizza. But that's the only time I've ever made pizza myself. I mean, do you live alone? What do you even do with a whole loaf of bread? Like, you probably have people that you can share your bread with, or throw your bread at, right? Because what is one single person supposed to do with a whole loaf of bread? Your house is too cold for bread. Have you tried setting your house on fire? Or just, you know, finding an apartment that's closer to McDonald's? Because McDonald's generally has a tendency to burn down. Dogs eat bread? Really? That's new to me. Well, I'm glad I was of help, talentless wizards. Well, thanks the DJ. Isn't it interesting how dogs do that, but cats don't? At least the cats I've seen. They were always very picky eaters. I mean, the only pastry I've ever made myself, like the only baked goods, I have never made breads. I have made cheesecake. But I think that's probably the only baked thing I ever constructed out of my oven. Well, I also don't particularly like bread. Maybe that's one of the reasons why I wouldn't want to make bread. I find bread usually just too hard and too boxy. bread doesn't look cute enough either. You also can't so easily smudge bread over people's faces. I mean, I see a lot of downsides to bread, really. It seems like these enemies hit a bit harder. The mess? So you're saying that making bread is messy? What exactly about it is the messy part? Oh, it's the flower part, I see. You know, surprisingly, with quarantine and coronavirus and hoarding, I hear that people have been buying more flour. What does one even use flour for if one isn't making bread? Because I myself have very little use for flour these days on a daily basis. I wonder what you would use flour for. frying? Really? Flour is used in frying, I see. I don't really like to use flour for frying. People eat flour raw. I don't believe that. I mean, apparently I don't use flour just about ever. Isn't it like slightly unhealthy to eat raw flour? Well, whether you can swallow raw flour might depend on your individual swallowing abilities. What does it even taste like, raw flour? You know, speaking of salmonella, I sometimes eat raw eggs, which also are apparently not the greatest thing to eat raw. I keep them in the fridge. Yeah, I mean, salmonella isn't really common here either, but apparently you can still get it. Why should I not put them in the fridge before the sticker? I mean, I think I don't have to, but is there a downside if I do it too early? Well, the eggs that I know, they have like a sticker on them that says you should refrigerate them from this and this date. And if you do so, then they are good before at least this and this date. Oh, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Why do Americans have to put their eggs in the fridge from day one? That sounds interesting. Oh, well, I'm believing you. I wasn't aware of this advanced egg science. Isn't it kind of dangerous? Also, first of all, how do you even know all of these things? about the difference in eggs culture. Isn't it kind of dangerous to wash raw eggs? I mean, they could break. I mean, if you want to really remove all the dirt on the outside of the shell, how do you make that so that the egg shell doesn't actually break? I mean, you might probably need to have some kind of practice, but it seems a bit dangerous to me. I can't even say if you're joking or not, if people are putting eggs in the dishwasher. I have no idea. I mean, then again, to be fair, I've seen people put stranger things into the dishwasher than eggs. Don't some people prepare fish in the dishwasher? That would be new to me. To prepare fish in the dishwasher, I never heard of that. Also, why would you wash eggs? Like, is there any benefit to it? Do they just look nicer then? Cooking salmon in the dishwasher, that's most fascinating. Americans just prefer them clean. I see. Interesting. I mean, shit-covered eggshells probably also sounds a bit overdramatic, because usually it's just a bit of dirt and maybe feathers, but I find it hard to imagine that you would get an egg that's all around covered in excrements from the chicken. Also, in this battle, you want to kill all three of them in one hit, because otherwise the other party members can escape and then you don't get all the spoils. So in order to guarantee that, I will have to use this really dirty summon. Well, if one of them dies, then you only get the XP and AP and the item drop from that person who kills. If you kill them all in one hit, like if they all die at the same time, then you get all of the spoils from all three. So I want to make sure that the attack that kills one of them kills the other two at the same time. And this is the easiest way to ensure that. Well, I guess there's enough delusion going around for all of the Turks to splurge in it. Wow, spooky enemy. Oh, hey, Tenny. Hey, Cicatress. So at the end of this tunnel, you will find, among other things that are the item materia, at least normally. I wonder what I'll get in this mod. with everything being randomized. Maybe it's gonna be 10 gil, but I think I don't know, that's very specific, 10 gil. And there's a treasure chest. Wiser staff. Cool. Guard source. I am getting quite a few guard sources, I feel. I mean, I'm sure you could do that, but just in this randomizer, such an option is not possible. But I don't see why not. I mean, the way this randomizer works so far is that materia can only be materia, so W item materia can only be any kind of materia. Well, he had already left by the time I went in the other direction, didn't he? Like, he wasn't there to witness that I didn't trust him. Well, it seems like what I said earlier about materia only being materia is not actually accurate, because I just got a shotgun. Well, um, that's exactly it. But when I picked up the Quater materia, it was also just the Quater materia. And I believe that's not because I was really lucky and it was still just Quater materia, because that's possible but extremely unlikely. I think it's just that some items have, in this randomizer, not been properly randomized for whatever reason, so that you still get the item you normally get. And that's not by pure chance, so, but that's just because those things were not randomized at all. I mean, this is still very much a work in progress thing. How many turns do they intend to get? No. Some attacks can never be target your own party, even if the character who uses them is confused. If you input someone to, like if you have somebody select a summon, and by the time they cast it they are confused, they will still cast it on the right target, which is the enemies, not your own party. And I mean, I guess like plot-wise, you could argue that does make sense, because, you know, the summon, when it's being summoned, acts on its own volition, and, you know, they are being paid by your party to do this shit, I suppose, so of course they would still find the right targets, wouldn't they? Hey Coca, I am quite good, how are you? Limit breaks as well cannot be used on your own party. No, I am not warping around Walter Pickles. How are you? because this is a part in the game where you go to this place. Do you even FF7 made? So normally on the staircase there is an item called Behemoth Horn that you can find when you come back here. I have, however, already gotten a Behemoth Horn from some other location. So I'm just going here to pick up this item because it might be just about anything. Well, that's strange. Something is wrong with this staircase. There's floors missing. Something Sega Chief did. And now I can't get this item anymore. Like, this is only 3 screens. Normally it's like 7 or so. How strange and spooky this is. Oh, there's an item now. Well, okay. It still seems to be the Behemoth Horn though. So nothing. Yeah, I mean, but I only went 3 floors up to reach the top. I'm going down, I think, at least the normal length. Maybe I'm going down indefinitely now. Maybe this is now a never-ending staircase. And this is just another way for me to softlock the game. Maybe this is just staircase simulation now. Did you know there was a workout machine that's just basically a never-ending staircase? I think it's called, well, something like Stairmaster, and you can get on it, and it's just basically like a mixture of a conveyor belt with like a stair thing, and you can climb stairs indefinitely because it's so fun to climb stairs. Maybe that's kind of what this is now. Stairmaster also is the name of an enemy from various 3D Zelda games, such as Ocarina of Time, and I think Majora's Mask. Or is it Floor Master? I'm not sure. Your channel point emotes. Well, you're free to recommend other options to Sega Chief for future versions of this randomizer. You know, you can go to, he seems to be quite commonly in my Discord channel, but also you can just talk to him. Wow. On the place where you can download the randomizer. Have you actually tried the randomizer yourself? Or are you just watching me suffer through it? You don't own FF7 on PC? Oh, I see. Master Fist and Crystal Swords. Is it strange to name a weapon Master Fists? I'm not sure. Maybe when the game came out, there was a time when Master Fist didn't seem weird, but I must say that hearing a weapon being called Master Fist is really quite spooky to me. A battery, wow, that's cool. Limited Moon. Interesting. Yes, I do have a Discord channel. I don't have a Discord channel command though. How does one even link one's Discord channel? Let's see. How do I even I haven't really done much of this, so can you search for Discord channels? Because it's called what you would assume it's called. Let's just put it at like that. Oh wait, also is in my Twitch description. Well, that's good then. But I would also like to point out that it is indeed a very valid name. Also, I need to get myself some more drinks, so I'll be back in a few minutes. turned. I believe at least. So the next boss fight is Prodclot. No, I do not drink Coke anymore. I only use Coke to clean toilets these days. And sinks. And, you know, other things that you can clean. I do not put edible meat sticks into my mouth. But it seems to be the case that whenever I have something whenever I have some kind of food, people always seem to be wondering what it is I'm eating. We had a pasty for dinner. A pasty? Do you mean pastry? Or do you really mean pasty? Because as far as I am informed, pasty is one of these little things that, you know, like several adult entertainers in like the burlesque business put onto their breast nipples so that they can hide their nipples, but still being as nude as possible. But I assume you didn't actually eat one of these things, right? I'm just not sure what you're saying. A Cornish pasty? Oh. Yeah, that's a different kind of pasty. I still think that the one I was talking about is also called pasty though. Yeah. Apparently pasty has various meanings, and I just didn't know the kind of pasty you were talking about. Oh, it's called pasty. Is that how you say it? Pasty. Interesting. What a strange word. Okay. This is cool. You can never have enough of them, it seems. Um, yes, this boss does indeed give quite a bit of AP. I got 5, just as I expected. You can never have more than 6 enemies in a battle. And it seems that in this battle I have indeed 6 enemies. One was the armor that has already died. And now there's 5 more actual prod clots remaining. Hey Stephen, indeed. Yes, I have. And I think the only one that had what it was supposed to have was the Knights of the Round one. I got Knights of the Round from the Knights of the Round Materia cave. All the other caves gave me basically garbage. In fact, you have to have beverage here to even make the chest appear. So yes, I will have to bring beverage. I mean, if you count the target signs, you can see that there's actually still 5 prod clots. Usually, I guess. Compared to Proudclot, he's quite small, but I don't think Titan is small in absolute terms. Well, the name doesn't become less weird, considering that Cloud and Clot are quite similar, so I always wondered if that's some kind of reference to Cloud, the Clot part, but it just seems very weird. Oh my god, I think I had a soft lock. This is unfortunate. I was so close to winning this battle and then this shit happened. Oh, oh well, at least why? Do you think the game really has to give you a reason for why it gives you soft locks? In this case, I think something about limit break caused the soft lock. I mean, it's not like the battle went on for that long. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could just, you know, cast one cutter and everything is over. Maybe I should do it just, you know, for simplicity's sake. Because I don't want to experience any more soft locks, I guess. And you've already seen it anyway, so I suppose there is nothing more to gain out of this, is there? Then it's back to the standard approach. Just cutter everything to death, I suppose. It's certainly more time consuming. Time efficient, I mean. Hey Astro. You should try this mod, it's quite fun. This is how not to quarantine the mod 2020. Social distancing the game. I know they're not. But then again, they are robots. I am not so sure about the proper social distancing rule for robots. You can currently tell, if you pay attention, if you count the cannons that point towards the chop, there's 5 cannons, which means I have 5 broadclots. The 6th enemy is actually the armor, I think it's called Jama armor or something like that. And now these guys are heavily implied to have died from this explosion. I mean, they weren't okay to begin with. Maybe physically, but I'm not sure about mentally. So I should now bring Barrett to be able to open another chest. Wow, this looks spooky. We have some hovering tank heads. Even more now. Perfectly normal.